Hello, my name is Nikky, CEO of Neasden College. Welcome to Centerpoint Africa. And I've got special guest here today. It is going to be an awesome day today. The program is centered on education, international politics, and also community development. Right now, I've got special guests I need to talk about. The worshipper, Croydon Mayor, Susan Maddie.
Hi, Nikky.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you for the amazing introduction. And I'm really thrilled to be here. I hope I can be able to provide some interesting stories about what it's like to be mayor of my hometown.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I've actually invited you here today, and it's to talk about community development. Please tell me about you and how you became a mayor.
Right, well, there are kind of two steps along the way. The mayor of the borough is chosen from the local councillors. In Croydon, we've got quite a lot of local councillors because we're a very, very populous and diverse borough. We've actually got 70 councillors.
Yes.
And every year, those 70 councillors choose one from their number to be mayor.
Yes.
There's a special ceremony called Annual Council, where the person that's pre-agreed to be mayor is nominated by the leader of the council and seconded by the opposition, which makes it therefore a very neutral role. You become a local councillor you have to be elected to be the candidate by your local party of choice.
Yes.
And you then put yourself forward to the electorate, and if you are successful, you then become a councillor through that route. Personally, though, my journey to become a local councillor was twofold. First, my parents always brought me up to have very strong views and to articulate my views. I felt something wasn't right to say it. But I also found as I got older through my school years that I was the person that people turned to for advice.
Okay.
I was Pat from EastEnders, essentially.
Yeah, wow.
From various different things that were very, very influential. When I was 16, that I was being told by friends, and I remember promising myself in one particular instance that I would never let two 16-year-old girls fall so lost in the wilderness if I could do anything about it in the future. So I swore I would do everything with my career and my life to try and make that better.
So you preferred working with young people?
Yes, well, that was what I know, and I became a councillor from 10 weeks after I was elected after becoming a parent for the first time.
Wow.
So my eldest son, Theo, is 6, and I came mayor after a very councillor after from a very challenging year.
Yes.
It's very difficult getting elected in the first place, but I was also going through some very difficult things within my family. So it culminated with having the two things I most wanted in the world happening to me within 10 weeks after I'd been getting elected, which was my dream job, and becoming a mum.
Yeah.
Within a few weeks of each other, after having had a very trying lead up. But it's hard if you become a councillor so soon after becoming a new parent, not everything you do to be focused from that perspective. So when I became mayor, that became even more what I was going to talk about with my year.
Madam Mayor, well, I did know you earlier, and I understood what you do within the community. What is your role, and how have you maintained your role being a mother and also being Madam Mayor?
Right. Well, the truth of the matter is every single day as mayor and as a councillor is different.
Yes.
So the biggest challenge probably is finding consistency in babysitting. I'm very lucky because I've got some very, very supportive family, in particular my parents, and even then in particular my mum, who is available whenever I need her. It's actually her birthday today, so if you're watching, happy birthday, Mum. And an incredibly supportive husband who, when I feel like I'm going a bit mad with all the intenseness of the job, he's the calm, sensible, logical one that works it through. But it isn't easy, balancing the two things. But as I said, the truth is, I wouldn't not have either of them. It's the most important parts of my identity are as a mum and as a local councillor, and then as mayor, because and I see the two as so intricately linked.
Yes.
Because one, I use my
It is.
experiences and my understanding of being a mum
Yeah.
to influence the decisions I take as a counsellor and now as mayor. To the point where my entire mayoral year is themed around early life.
Yeah.
So everything about becoming a parent, whether it's through pregnancy, adoption, fostering, all the way taking you through to the end of the primary school years.
Yes.
So I've done a lot of work already in my few weeks in as mayor, working with children's groups and from reaching out, becoming the voice for new mothers on the council.
Yes, definitely. Great. I know as being a mayor, you choose charity. So what's your chosen charity?
Well, I've got three. I've got Home Start Croydon,
Yes.
which are an incredible local charity. Their remit is from reaching families that are going through difficult times before they reach crisis points. So their work is very preventative. A lot of the time, if you're going for a difficult time, all you really need is some practical and sensible down-to-earth advice, and so from a sort of parent role model figure to carry you through. Certainly that was my experience when I was going through a difficult time in 2013.
Yeah.
And so Home Start services and support would kick in before you reach the point where you need any social service involvement or you need any active council involvement. I also have the St Christopher's Hospice, from which are the hospice that look after Croydon and 4 other local boroughs.
Oh, okay.
They are one of the oldest hospices in the country,
Yeah.
and they've looked after my nan, my husband's best friend, and my husband's dad at the end. Their end of their life. From mentioning my nan, the final charity is the Motor Neurone Disease Association.
Oh, fantastic.
And both of my grandmothers suffered with motor neurone disease,
Yeah.
which I think makes me genetically a bit of a ticking time bomb. So it's a very, very personal story. I don't know how much your viewers know about motor neurone disease.
Yes.
It's a terrible, terrible condition because what it does is it attacks your ability to move, your ability to speak, your ability eventually even to eat. And then in the final stage is your ability to breathe, whilst leaving your brain completely intact.
Yes.
So you are literally completely aware of watching your body fall apart around you.
Yeah.
It's a really horrible way to go. And I watched in 2013, whilst pregnant, through a very, very challenging pregnancy,
Yeah.
my nan succumbing to that disease. It has a lasting impact on you when you go through things like that.
Wow, that's really great to hear. I also have another special guest. She's the director of Slum Aid. I would actually ask her to introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you, Nikky. So my name is Giulia Pepe. I'm director of Slum Aid. Slum Aid is a London-based charity, and we try to support, as our name, the name of the charity says, we try to support slum areas.
Yeah.
We work with other charities, so we are outside the UK and inside the UK. We are based here, but we want to look at the world and to see how we can help and support, provide help. So our mission is to enable people to impact on others' lives. So when our founder 10 years ago, Tony Suarez, he has an Indian background, he was traveling through India, he saw that there was a great need for help, for support. And he thought that putting in contact people around the world, connecting people around the world, and helping everyone to share their skills, their resources, their means, could create a different world, a better world. We try to see a world, we want to see a world that is more equal, more sustainable. And the idea of Slum Aid, it was to provide everyone the opportunity to give something. Yes. So when we started, the main focus was on providing volunteers the right training, the right resources for them to go and work with our local partners.
Yes.
And one main and important part is that we don't want to have just one particularly very healthy, very wealthy volunteer in our mind. We ideally would like to enable everyone to volunteer, so everyone from every background could become part of these, and money is a big part of this. So we.
Oh, great! Thank you so much. I'm actually a community developer myself. I have been helping the community both in the UK and also in Africa, especially in Nigeria. This program is actually one of my extension. Well, I say extension of what I definitely do, which is community development, enhancing and developing young people, adults, and providing training. So, what also I want to ask to Madam Mayor, that will be to you. Literally, you've stated all the charities that you're going to be supporting. What are you expecting from, or what are the benefits of anyone that you want to support your charity?
You mean what will be the benefits for people that are supporting it, or the benefits the charities bring?
Yes, on the charities point. What I'm trying to ask you is, in regards to what do you want the viewers to have in regards to the benefits of your charity? Right. Yes, definitely.
As I outlined, start with Home Start in particular again.
Yes.
From the work that Home Start do,
yeah,
I really can't praise enough. From generally speaking, if a child has to enter the care system in any way, shape or form, or a family needs to have involvement with social services,
yes,
then their life chances are severely impacted, and they have a lot of extra challenges. Whereas if you can reach some people and just give them support at a practical and easier, earlier stage, that can really, really keep families together. It can keep social cohesion, and it can really help fundamentally and vitally help a community. From St Christopher's, from the one thing that will happen to all of us is that eventually we will pass away. Okay. And it's vital if we possibly can give you from the best end of life experience possible, but also provide the wraparound care that you and your family need at that crucial time. Yes. I'm doing some work, for example, I'm doing called Creating Conversations, which is from extension of a project that St Christopher's had already been running. Yeah. Where I'm going to be doing an event live over social media, probably from the 10th of October, where we've got a panel of people that are going to come together and kind of just tell their stories of loss and how that affected them.
Wow. Okay.
So it's about the idea of encouraging people to have those conversations, firstly about what their wishes for their end-of-life care would look like, but also from making sure that families are prepared to have those conversations when that point eventually does come to them, and they know that where they can source those resources from and what support is available.
Okay.
And Motor Neurone Disease Association, there is no cure for that. It's going to kill you if you get it, and you're going to suffer quite badly along the way. But what they do is they try and help people do once they've had the diagnosis, but also they are funding incredibly huge amounts of amazing research into us, explaining why this condition happens. Yeah. I don't know if any of your viewers remember the Ice Bucket Challenge from a few years ago.
Oh yes, I did remember. I'm from Croydon. I did do it myself. It was
fantastic.
Really. I'm so excited when we say Ice Bucket. You know,
yeah,
it was lovely.
Incredible.
Yes,
and
it was.
It couldn't have been more fascinating timing, because the Ice Bucket Challenge came about during the summer. Yes. After my nan had passed away. Yeah. And after believe it or not, my second grandmother, who had just been diagnosed with it as well. So both of my grandmothers have had that condition. And so literally we had just been able to get over the grief of losing one to be heard that we got the same diagnosis as my other grandmother, and the Ice Bucket Challenge hit. So it couldn't have been a more powerful thing. And the Motor Neurone Disease were the people behind that association, were the people behind that campaign.
Yes.
And it really, we went from being kind of trying to explain to everybody every 2 minutes what was actually going to happen and why this was such a terrible and horrible diagnosis to have, to everybody talking about it overnight. And it was, the difference between the two times was absolutely extraordinary. And I'm thinking, not only did you really help my nan providing all sorts of equipment that she needed completely free of charge, but you also have brought this into the public domain. So what more powerful thing than there be than getting the community talking? And it's about being a community organiser. That's one of the most amazing forms of social media engineering I think I've ever seen, the way that just went viral.
Yeah.
I've got a debate with from the mayoral team at the moment whether the mayor should be allowed to do the ice bucket challenge or not, because it's not considered to be dignified.
Oh, well. It was very great. Yeah. Thank you so much. And let me just go to the director of Slum Aid. Tell me how COVID have actually affected your business, your organization, and what you're expecting from the community and the viewers to be able to know about it, please.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question, and I think we had to talk about COVID anyway.
Of course,
right?
we had to.
Because we work in partnership with local charities that operate in Asia, in India and Bangladesh, but also in Africa, in Kenya, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria. And of course, we were a recruiting agency for volunteers. We found ourselves lost, and actually, like, we lost power because we were trying to support our partners through our volunteers.
Yeah.
So the main challenge for us was to move everything online, and also to keep the world open, in a sense, because what happened with lockdowns and borders closure is that we all stay in our own communities. This is what we have to do. And as much as internet and media connects us with the entire world, the risk for me is that people might feel that now we are just our own little community and we just look at our garden and we don't look outside the world. Well, like as we were discussing before with Madam Mayor, we were saying that like you cannot you have to develop a world vision, because pandemic it means that everyone in the world is affected by this disease, by every consequence that the pandemic caused. It's also important, I think, that we remember that words have a different meanings in different parts of the world.
I know.
And what I've seen, like speaking with the directors of the local charity we partner with, is that when we were talking about lockdowns and self-isolation, it was like we were talking about completely different things, because you have to consider communities that are based on day-to-day earnings economies, and lockdown truly impacted these sort of economies. So all the progresses I think that local charities had reached, the risk is that now that communities go back, like maybe 50 years back, there are entire categories of population in these deprived areas that risk to be left behind. Everyone in the Western world readapted to online sort of activities, right? Children, in a sense, still received education because they were able to access Wi-Fi and internet connections, but there are so many parts in the world where this is not possible, or this is extremely hard. So I think the challenge for us is to convince people to look outside,
of course,
and to reach out and to see that we really need to be in this we are in this pandemic all together. And inequality shouldn't increase after these, although I fear it's possible that this is going to happen.
Thank you so much for what you stated. I do understand that COVID has been very, very devastating to everybody, both the community, both the businesses, and we're willing to make sure we work hard to, make all the tremendous hard work be the main aim, isn't it? Improving ourselves, our skills, every aspect of ourselves, so that we can cope with the struggles of, being a professional, isn't it?
Yeah. I think
right. The worshipful Mayor of Croydon, Councillor Maddie Henson.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but I've just basically pronounced it properly right now, and then I just want to just give you this this assurance. If you're not hearing this interview, can you tell me what you'll be doing right now?
Well, quite specifically, originally before this invitation came in, I was going to go and visit one of the food banks in Croydon. From one of the things I have been doing is I asked my office to write to all of the food banks we had from record and contact details for, and find out if they would be in any way useful to them to have a mayoral visit to help promote the work they're doing.
Yes.
And then the least that the council's representative I could do was to say thank you for the work they've been doing to carry us through the last few months. And I actually had a visit scheduled at this exact moment.
Yeah.
So I got the office to phone them up and grovel on my behalf essentially, and they've rearranged to Saturday on the hope that I've agreed to bring a really massive donation with me when I come to make it up to them.
Oh, that would be great. That was lovely. I also want to ask a question. How you are a leader, a woman, how are you able to manage and work within being Madam Mayor?
It is difficult, and I'm the youngest woman ever to do this role in Croydon's history.
Congratulations. Congratulations to Madam Mayor.
And it is a challenge, and I've said about kind of being a mum and being a councillor as being the two most important parts of my identity, but obviously I'm also a wife, and I've also got a business.
Yes.
So there are loads of different aspects to what I do and who I am. But the truth is, as I said, you take each individual day as it comes, and just make sure that when you go through the diary and the schedule for every day, then make sure that nobody or nothing's got forgotten. From our sons, Theo and Liam, have, in fairness to them, they've never known any other life but where mummy and daddy are involved in local politics, and from going out canvassing all the time, and from going out and being involved in these community organisations.
Yeah.
And so that's to them is the norm.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, though it is quite a challenge for them because they have to share their mum with all these other causes, it does bring them a lot of opportunities as well, and some of the experiences they could have had, because they come along to a lot of engagements with me when they're not at school or nursery.
Yes.
So it has mutual benefits to them. I'm just very lucky that they are quite understanding children, considering they're only 6 and 2.
6 and 2,
Yes.
They're really, really young.
Very young.
I do appreciate you being a career lady, a professional, and I think you give us all leaders a way of saying thank you so much for being Madam Mayor, and for creating that chances for ladies as well.
There is a problem with not enough women, particularly young women, entering politics. I think it's a very established fact that it's been a very male-dominated industry.
Yes.
And it's because it can, and by its very nature, be a very cut and thrust and very difficult and historically very male and macho world. And though you've got to be strong, because you've got to put your opinion and make sure people understand the reason why you've got the views you have, there's no reason why it has to be vicious. And I personally think that women are very good at this job. And I really do think that more women should get involved in it. Don't let people tell you that it's too male-dominated, because it isn't, and we need more women.
And I would like to be talking now to Madam Mayor, and then I'll be asking her about women education. So, Madam Mayor, what do you think about women education, and what do we need to do in order to, elaborate it and implement it a lot more effectively?
I think I pick up from where I left off, essentially, that there is a problem of women not getting involved in their community in sense of the civic part, like through from political standing. And I'm very lucky that I've got when I stood with election as an all-women panel last time, female panel. There aren't many of them where it's all women standing in a ward. Oh. It's still very, very rare. And I've got a female MP, and I think that in itself shows that women are very well placed to do this role. And with politics with a small p, as I said, I've got to be politically neutral. I can't talk party politics or policy issues, but it's an obvious fact that some parties are better at it than others, but they we've only ever had 2 female prime ministers. That's not good.
That is not good, but we hope for improvement.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we're here, to encourage young ladies to go into, different types of departments and
Yes.
being leaders in the
exactly.
industry full of men, so we need to
saw a stat
encourage
once that
them.
there are more CEOs around the world called John than there are women.
I've never heard of that, but
That just stuck with me. I thought,
It says a lot.
that says a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely.
say a lot. So, Director of Slum Aid, just tell us about what you think about education and women integrated, and especially, what advice you'll give to them to get to do exactly what you're doing right now.
I think what we have seen over the years is that there are 2 phases of women involvement in community development. From one perspective, there is the fact that women volunteers more. For instance, we have mainly women traveling by themselves, going in deprived areas, helping. They want to reach out, and they usually reach out more than men. But this is not just to say, okay, women are better. I think it's a different sensitivity, and it's a different way of approaching change. In a sense, women need to adapt so much during their life because they have all their identities together. They have to come and to make peace one to each other. So it's really it's a powerful aspect, I think, of being a woman. And on the other hand, there is the fact that we have seen that supporting projects that have mainly women as beneficiaries and young girls brings incredible improvement in communities.
Yes, it does.
If you run a school, you'll see that moms are involved with the education of the children. If you educate the children, you are also educating the mother.
Yes, you are.
Everywhere, in every project we have in Africa, we have always this sensitivity. We want to be more involved with projects that give a voice to women.
Yes, we do.
And we really think that education is the key.
Yes.
Education is the key to empowerment. I can share a little bit of my personal experience on these. When I started as a volunteer in Slum Aid. So I volunteered for 2 years it was India, because that was
was it paid voluntary?
No, it's unpaid, yes. So it was I crowdfunded myself.
Okay.
And I was able to stay in a slum in Mumbai for 2 months, running a class for teenagers, girls and boys. And I went back, this was 5 years ago. I went back before the pandemic, actually. I was in Mumbai in February. And my girl students, they were all going to college.
Yes.
Only one was married. And she married when she was 18. So it means that, in a sense, she waited until she finished high school. So it's still something, because when we talk about these deprived areas, both in Asia and in Africa, we have to think about child marriage, and so and all the stigma against menstruation and female genital mutilation and everything that brings that brings girls to drop out of school.
I know.
So when we approach these issues, we have to have an holistic way of seeing everything, and we really think that education is the key. It's the key that connects everything, and that really brings has to a different way of seeing things, I guess.
Well, thank you very much. Madam Mayor, I would like to ask you about equality and diversity. It's really important in schools, and I know as Madam Mayor, that is one of the things also that your charity will be looking into, making sure that everybody knows about equality and diversity. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right, well, firstly, I really couldn't agree more that education is the secret to everything. There is literally nothing more important than a society can do as a duty than look after the generation that will come after you.
Yes.
That's probably one of the main reasons why I've chosen the theme I have of early life.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing more important that we can do than prepare the next generation to have a better life than we've had.
Yeah.
In terms of equality and diversity, Croydon is an incredible place, and it really, if anyone ever tries to tell you that multiculturalism is in any way not a good thing, I would point them to Croydon. Croydon has got so many different communities, so many different people from different experiences, different walks of background, different lives, different countries, and it thrives. It's a wonderful borough, and I am so proud to have come from there, and even more proud to be the mayor of my hometown. The town that gave me birth, that gave me 2 children, gave me school, gave me my education, gave me my home, making my husband, and has just been the making of me.
Wow, thank you very much. Yeah. Now we go to the director of Slum Aid. I would like to ask you, what are you looking for in the next 5 years? In regards to Slum Aid, and what are your aspirations to make sure? And also, I need to talk to you about CSR, and I need you to also make the viewers aware of that.
Yes, sure. So the big question when the pandemic started for Slum Aid was, so now what do we do? How do we help from here, from home?
I know.
And so we haven't invented anything, but we just thought that London, with its diversity and multiculturality, it can be a great place where to start to find connections between the business sector and the charity sectors.
Yes.
So, and there is where CSR comes, because CSR, corporate social responsibility, it's a way for companies to we say like simply giving something back, but it's way more than that. I think especially in London, where you have people of different backgrounds, and I think that many employees even in bigger companies, they might want to give something back to the communities they came from, or that they have a particular connection with. So what we want to do is to create projects that are right for each different company.
Yes.
We believe in grassroots projects. So for us, the needs of our local partners is where we start from, because one thing we want to avoid is having this project imposed from above, from the Western society into. I think this is really, really important. It should be a conversation, not someone telling someone else what to do.
Yeah.
So I think there is a lot of potential to develop very good projects that can be run online. Local charities everywhere in the world, they always need training for their teachers, training for their local staff, staff management suggestions.
So you're expecting companies to have skills that they can be able to give to the volunteers?
Exactly. So we, more than the resources, I think that anyone employed in a company, in whatever company you can think about, they have skills, they have professional skills that they can donate.
Yes.
And donating skills is the easiest thing you can do, because once you have a skill, it's part of yourself.
Of course.
So I think if companies are able to see these as just not as a local help,
yes,
but to go outside the UK, with the chances that we have now, because now that we have become like also used to work online and to do things we were not able to do before online, I think this is like the right time to focus on these. So any companies working in social media marketing, for instance, that's something local charities need a lot. And also, I think it's a benefit for, like, it creates beneficial outcomes for everyone, not just like the charities that receive these help, this support. I think on the other hand, you also have companies and employees feeling part of a project, feeling that they're working together on something else that is not creating profit. Which, apart from everything that's said, like, okay, team building and anything, but I think there is really something more on these, and there is a great potential. Any company interested in what we do, we really have a great range of projects. And we are there to help in every step. I think what we win on the fact that we are small, and so we have time to dedicate to our project and be sure that the project is successful for both of the like benefactor and beneficiary, if we want to call it like this.
Oh, thank you, Director. I would like to go back to Madam Mayor. I know you talked about all your awesome charity and your support. Can you tell us about your personal aim and also where you see yourself in the next 5 years after becoming Madam Mayor?
Right, well, personal aim, obviously I've touched quite a bit on my passion, which is early life. So every mayor sets a theme for the year. Sometimes it is their charities, sometimes it's from businesses. For me, it is about early years. It's about everything about from those early life, those early moments where we're setting the scene for the future life. That is a passion for me. Some of the examples I've done with that, just slightly diverging, are something called the Reading Road shows, which were a series of free socially distanced picnics I put on from the parks around Croydon. Perfectly COVID secure, so we checked everybody's temperatures, we kept everybody in their own groups. And we had some local authors come and read to the children, and we had council services dotted around the outside to provide people with those kind of informal chats. In terms of 5 years, obviously you are elected for 4 years at a time. I would like to think that I'll be a councillor still, but obviously that is down to the electorate to make that decision when it comes to it. I would like to think that I will hold different roles within kind of like the council and be able to kind of put some of my beliefs in the early years and put some of the groundwork I've done as Madam Mayor onto that passion. But politics is an interesting game, so it's difficult to kind of think in those terms. But that's from what I would like to think that I'll be able to, all the things I've learned and been able to do with my passion of the early years, to be able to put that into a more policy direction after I finish being mayor.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. And I'll also go back to the Director, Slameid. I would like to ask you, you've actually talked about CSR and areas where you think that's very important for your business. Well, tell us, as a young woman now that's actually 18 years old and would want to go into charity, just give them a charity, open a charity. What are the areas that you think that you can tell them so that they're able to start up their own business?
Well, I think it depends. It's a really hard question because giving suggestions, you feel a responsibility. I think what I've said before, the fact that when you volunteer, when you start to be involved in a charity,
So you're expecting the young lady, to basically volunteer and get to know the aspects of the business.
I think it's really important for anyone to find their own the projects they believe in. When you volunteer for something, you are connected in some way.
Of course.
you will be more passionate.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's really important to give young women and girls spaces where they can develop their projects. It's extremely hard to start a charity business, but it's not impossible. And connections, it's something that helps you. You really need to go out and see what the world needs. I think this is a really important part of, like, if someone wanted to start a new charity. But anyway, like I think the key is it's passion. You need to be passionate about what you do, and this is the difference between succeeding or not, and especially in the social sector. I think you need to be like charities. It's going to be tough. You asked about the 5 years. It's really hard for us to look at, of course we plan.
You have the plan.
You have to plan 5 years from now where we'll be, where we will be. But we will have to assess every day what is going to happen with the charity sector. And but I would encourage anyone to start and to see what's around. And I think really that young women can find spaces in charity because, again, we have something more, maybe. I would suggest go out and look for your project.
For the project, fantastic. Madam Mayor, again, we're looking at young people. Is there any formal qualification to become a councillor and then transition to a mayor?
There's nothing specific. There isn't like a degree in from being a local councillor.
Yes.
Obviously some people do study politics and from university. Though surprisingly few politicians study politics.
Yes.
In fact, I was actually given a pretty good bit of advice that I shouldn't study politics at uni. I studied history, which was similar but was separate from it. What you do need, though, is you really do need to have a passionate investment in your community that you want to represent, because there's no point in being a councillor just for the sake of kind of the prestige of it, because you're not doing anything.
Yes.
From the whole point about the role of the local council developing over sort of the history, where the role which we have as a society fought for the right to have, and fought for the right to have democracy, is so you've got a voice, someone that is your champion. So what you do need is to really believe in your position on life, and you also really need to be driven hard to achieve things and to actually make the world a better place. And loads of people have different views about what that would look like, and that's why we have such passionate political debates. But the thing that connects you together is that belief and that desire to kind of make the world a better place in the way you see it.
Yes.
And I'd like to say about believing in the value of democracy. I mean, people have fought and died for the right to for you to go down the polling station and put an X in the box. From every X number of months or years. So there is one thing I always say to people: above all else, the first thing and most important thing you've ever got to do is vote.
Exactly, voting. Especially for young people.
Yes.
And doesn't matter what political.
You can turn up, spoil your ballot paper if you like. Just make that statement that you've exercised your right. Yes,
it's really, really great. I know I talked so much about the young women, and and I need to also talk about the young men. So from your perspective, I know we're women, and then we have our outlook and as leadership, we also have young men who will be watching this and would say, okay, I would want to go into this, can we just have a little things that we can talk about in regards to the young men as well, and include them in regards to all the conversation we're having right now. So, Madam Mayor.
Well, as I pointed out, I've got 2 sons.
Exactly.
My eldest Theo is, as I said, 6, but he's more like 6 going on 16.
Yes.
he clearly see that he's had his entire life surrounded by politicians. He walks into the room and he owns the room.
Wow.
I remember when my youngest was a newborn, going and getting him weighed at the health clinic. And came out of the sort of side the clinic where we're weighing the baby, and he with Theo, and he walked out ahead of me. And the room had gone from being quite quiet to being full of these primarily mums and new babies, but a lot of fathers as well. And he stopped at the door, looked around, and went like this, and then projected from the diaphragm at the top of his voice, "All your babies are so cute." Understandably had the kind of like room eating out of his hand. But the fact is that the passions for young men are no different from the passions that are required for women. Or to get involved in your local party, in your local community, in whatever, whether it's through the charity sector, through politics, whether it's through a positive business that's going to make a difference to community. You just have to have a passion for whatever that thing is that you're doing. You just have to believe in it. Life is hard work quite often, and it doesn't always. It does throw you some very, very challenging times. As I said right at the beginning, 2013 was a very difficult time for me. My nan was obviously dying of motor neurones, but also my grandfather had dementia and Lewy bodies, and they ended up dying within 10 days of each other. And I had a very, very, very difficult pregnancy with Theo. I had a condition called HG, which is the same condition that Kate Middleton suffers with. So you are sick regularly, multiple times a day. There are loads of things. It's one of those years, one of those years where you just think, how much more can possibly happen? But the fact is, I got through it. I was very lucky. I had a lot of support network of people around me. But really, life is difficult. There are times when you really do feel like you've hit rock bottom, but the sun does come up again. Yes. There is always a time when things are better. So in 6 years, I went from the lowest I ever was to being mayor of my hometown.
Which is congratulations to you, and we're really, really happy that you're able to transition, and I know you're going to do a good job. And we are all rooting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It does mean a lot. I might be able to talk a lot, but the truth of the matter is that whatever people might like to believe about politicians, most of them are as nervous about public speaking and going on the camera as anyone else is.
I know.
So it's really nice when people give you that inspiration.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Okay, let's go to you, Director Slamate. Please tell everybody, because she's here in regards to CSR, and we are able to promote and make sure that companies can support and provide different types of departments, and I'm here to make sure that she's able to give her outlook on it. So please tell.
I'll go back to the including young men as well. Yes. Because we have to say they are a resource as well.
Yes.
I think it's really important, and there are this type of experience, like working together on a project. I think it might give young men and young women the possibility to talk to each other more. Like I envision employees. It doesn't matter the gender, it doesn't matter the political views, but if employees, they are all linked by a skill that they want to share with someone in need. And actually what I think, maybe sometimes men's opinions are listened more, heard more, so it could be like women using this could also be a good way to move forward to achieve what you need. So I think there needs to be a dialogue, and as much as we are able to create spaces and where there is this dialogue, and as Madam Mayor said, you are a mom of 2 young boys, so you want them to behave and become the best version of themselves.
Exactly.
And I think they need an exchange with a dialogue with anyone. And
they do.
So I think, and also I have to say that when we will be back to travel again, young men are a resource, because it's easier for them to travel as well in some places around the world.
Yes.
So they should really use this because it's something that helps them, like the gender helps, unfortunately, and as much as I am for equal opportunities, and I always tell women, go and like don't be scared, you can do it.
Yes, definitely.
It's also like there is an issue with gender, like the gender of volunteers sometimes. So if you are a young boy, if you are a young man, do what you can do and use your privileges, I would say.
And your passion.
And your passion, yes.
Yeah, I would actually say something because I'm from Croydon.
Best place to be from.
And I'm here with Madam Mayor, and it's been a pleasure to have you and
a pleasure being
speak
here
with you in regards to your own attributions and contributions and family, career, putting everything together and becoming the best leader we all need to be. And we'd like to say thank you so much for this. And you know, but however, you know, you promise you're going to be coming back to the program, do you, Madam Mayor?
Yeah, of course I will. Whenever I'm invited, I'll be happy to come.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. And then we've got the Director of Slum Aid, and I'm so happy what you're doing, because what you're doing, you're helping everybody. You're helping both the youths, you're helping both the young men, young women, you know, adults, you know, anyone that needed to become start a charity, you know, create a voluntary aspect, because that's what we need to do. People always think much more about paid job, but I would actually say volunteering first, getting to know your job first, and then get to improve on having to, you know, encourage and get the job. That is the most important right now, because what it is that volunteering is being, you know, not a lot of people take it very seriously, but I come from volunteering. I volunteered for 5 years before actually starting Neasden College, and then, you know, for me, it's been a journey, and I needed those experiences, and I was not paid a penny, you know, so I do advocate for voluntary, and, you know, we all need to understand the level of appreciation, especially when you volunteer and help a business. So we're really happy about this. The last thing I would like to say is we are, Madam Mayor, when you, as we're speaking to the viewers, you know, if any business or anything wants to contact you, what are the where and what's the communication they need to contact you?
Right. If you want to make contact with the mayoral team, the best thing to do is to email the.mayor, so it's the.mayor @croydon.gov.uk, and there are an amazing team of officers that monitor the inbox, and will put from any invitations and contact in front of my face and say, Madam Mayor, will you be interested in doing this? And I very rarely say no. And if I can't do it, I've got an incredible deputy called Sherwin, who represents me as well.
Yes.
And we are very happy to attend as many things we can with them if they have a connection with Croydon, and champion the incredible work that Croydonians are doing.
Definitely. Thank you. And then the Director of Slum Aid, just tell me exactly the same thing.
If anyone interested, they can go on our website, slumaid.org, or just send us an email at hello@slumaid.org. So they can find all the information, and we are happy to provide anything they need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Another thing I would like to say is that I know everybody has got the communication, and we also need to talk a little bit about the aspect that's been happening in the world. You know, I know we talked about COVID, you know. Have we heard when the vaccine will be available? And then, Madam Mayor, when is the vaccine will be available?
I don't have any more knowledge than you do.
Yeah.
And I know some of the cleverest human beings alive are working round the clock to develop the vaccine. We put, as a society, our faith entirely in the shoulders of these extraordinary men and women that are working on this. But What the time frame is far more difficult to predict. I don't think even the experts will know, because it obviously so much depends on how the trials work out, on from how the spread of the disease carries on, what form that takes. But the best thing that we can do as a society is follow the guidelines. From wear your masks, stay socially distanced, stay safe, wash your hands for at least 20 seconds, and stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can answer the question as well.
Again, it's really hard to predict anything at this moment. What we are seeing now is that in some countries where we operate, where our local charities are, they now actually need more help than before, because at the beginning there was this immediate reaction, so food distribution, but now the hard part is to educate people on following the guidelines in countries where it's not that easy to keep the social distance, overcrowded parts of the world, and slum areas usually are. So I think that now the next step is, while we wait for a vaccine and while we understand how this will be distributed, because from a social perspective, from charity perspective, what we fear is that not everybody will have access immediately to the vaccine. So for us, it's really important now that we think about how we support the local charities, providing them the means to follow the guidelines, so that local charities can start again with their activities, following guidelines, not risking anyone's life, and so that we adapt for a while, for as long as it's needed, to this different world we live in, and hopefully maybe in the future we will be able to go back to our normal life. But for now, it's really important that we understand that in here, everywhere else in the world, guidelines and respecting social distancing is very important. So
before we go, because we're getting to the end of the program, I wanted to ask you, you talked about Africa, people traveling, and how it's affected them in volunteering. Can you tell me a little bit about the areas of which particular country in Africa you're referring to?
So we work in partnership with charities in Ghana. The charity we support, Dunk, is incredible because they are young.
What are they called?
Dunk, D-U-N-K. Okay. And they are all young, very young. They support community change through sports. So they allow girls and boys to play together, so they work in difficult areas, deprived areas. Then we work in partnership with a charity in Sierra Leone that was funded by child soldier. So I admire this person so much. He came through so much, and now he provides education to slum children in Kenya, where Kenya is at the moment they are experiencing some difficulties because schools will reopen in 2021.
I know. And
so children have lost so much. They will repeat the year.
They will repeat the year.
Entirely. So for the local charity we support, this was a big issue because then it means not being able to paying the local staff. You don't have you might have less donations, less you are not able to provide help to street kids. So it's it's a chain of issues that developed from the pandemic that that local charities have to deal with.
Yeah.
And then we work with a charity in Nigeria, and they work in a rural area, mainly in the, correct me, Enugu.
Enugu, okay. Imo State.
Yes.
Okay, Anambra State, I think. Well, it's some state. It's Enugu State.
So they work.
Yes, I'm actually very excited about this, because when you call Nigeria, because you know,
Yes.
I am very excited because I do help there as well, and originally my parents are from Nigeria, so, and I'm from Nigeria as well, and I'm a proud Nigerian.
I think we were really happy to start this partnership because
Is it the same company, Dong?
No, it's called SIRP,
okay.
and they do an amazing job for prevention of dropouts of school.
Okay.
So they mainly focus on girls that who mainly leave school because they don't go when they have menstruation. So they provide menstrual kits. They do a lot of work. They run a lot of campaigns, and that's where we think that like CSR departments, they could really help this Nigeria charity, because they really need help with their social campaigns, and these really impact on girls' lives. So I think everyone can help. Everyone can impact on others' lives.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, thank you so much, the worshipful, the Mayor of Croydon, Councillor Maddie Hansen. It's a pleasure having you on Centrepoint Africa with Nikky, and I wish you come back again, because we'll be having programs, and will be lovely to have you.
I'd be honoured.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and then Julie Pepper, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much for, you know, all the wonderful things you've been doing, and I hope you carry on doing all those, and we're really happy to have you. Also, we might be inviting you back again just to know what you've been doing. So
that
remember,
would be a pleasure.
that would be a pleasure for us to have you. So this is Nikky Emelike, Centrepoint Africa with Nikky. It runs on Thursdays, 3 to 4 p.m. Please tune in. Exciting news. We talk about education. We talk about international politics, and mostly community development, which is what we covered today. And we have exciting people who are actually going to be attending. So please tune in. Thank you, Nikky Emelike, CEO of Neasden College, Centrepoint Africa with Nikky. Thank you.